go. Greetings to all of my change makers out there, and we're so excited to be back with another amazing interview for you all today. And today I am so excited to be able to introduce a new friend of mine, Dr. Bob Levine. I love your background. Please tell our listeners a little bit about you and what makes you so amazing.
Thanks, Cheyenne, for having me and also inviting me to your upcoming event on the February the 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's really going to be fantastic. You got great speakers, and I'm honored to be one of those speakers who's going to be talking about some really cool subjects. One is alleviating stress for people in their lives, and also for people who are starting businesses or want to expand their business or just want to make their business thrive. The stress factor is monstrous. And I'm also going to be talking about financial stress, people who are struggling with finances or just don't understand a lot about them. I'm going to be offering some financial literacy and ways of really eliminating debt fast. And people are going to really be excited to hear about that. So that's what I'm covering coming up. And
Absolutely. And I hear that the stuff you do with helping people with stress doesn't have anything to do with popping pills.
No, I'm known by many people as America's leading drug-free stress and pain relief expert. So that's kind of my tagline. People know me like that. At least some people do know me like that. And that's really my claim to fame, because of my PhD that I got years ago is from George Washington University in pharmacology, which is you devote like 4, 5, 6 years, depending on how long it takes, to studying drug mechanism of action. So that's my background, and my specialty was brain research at the time and still is. So I know a lot about brain research. I did enormous amounts of research, published over 80 papers and medical journals, edited 5 books, a lot of things, presented all around the world my results in neurological and psychiatric conditions. And that was a fun time of life. And one thing I realized, though, was that I wasn't feeling like I was helping a lot of people by doing my research, because the research we do, which is groundbreaking, we're off investigating the unknown. It doesn't oftentimes help people either ever, or maybe for that 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, and in my case, after 60 years, I may pass by another 60 years if another 60 years goes by. So we'll see, maybe 70 years. But my point is that and the other thing that happened to me, which is really significant, was that I developed a really bad back and hip problem. I went to college on a football scholarship, and it was really fun. I mean, I loved playing ball, and when you're young, you feel kind of invincible. You can run full speed into people, smash your body up, and you feel some pain. So what? You ignore it. And I had a lot of injuries playing sports. And it was hard to really justify continuing to do sports after I finished my college days. And I have 3 sons who are all 23, 20, 21, and 19, and none of them were interested in football the way I talked about it. Because I was just so beat up, and it's a rough sport. But in any case, what happened was I developed a really bad back and hip problem. Nothing in conventional care could help me get out of pain. All of my MD buddies at Henry Ford Health System in Detroit were telling me, "Hey, Bob, you gotta, wait as long as possible to get hip replacements, and you got to suffer with the pain." And I thought, that is not going to be my future. And I do a lot with future visioning with people, but I didn't know anything about future visioning. But all I said to myself was, I don't care what I have to do. If I have to, fly to India and sit with gurus and caves in the mountains silent for 6 months, if that'll work, I'll do whatever it takes. I mean, that's an exaggeration. So I started exploring alternative therapies, and I spent a lot of money and a lot of time back in the mid to late 90s trying to get out of pain. And it finally worked after a lot of time, a lot of money. I was able to get out of pain. I learned a lot. I mean, I think my pathway was ordained to be one of, the first one's not going to work, the second one's not going to work, the 8th one's not going to work, the 10th, 11th one's not going to work, maybe the 12th one will work, right? So all these different modalities, these all, alternative, what I called at the time voodoo modalities, because I was so ingrained in the conventional medical research world. Um, but I was more committed to getting out of pain than I was, having my opinions that, well, this stuff is, cuckoo. So I explored all these alternative therapies, and I learned a lot. I mean, I learned about what I thought was effective and what I thought was ineffective, and all of them I would say helped a little bit. All of them were helpful, but none of them really got the job done by themselves. And I learned later on why that was the case. I'll say something about that later when we talk about clinical trials that I've done with thousands of people. But I was able to get myself out of pain, and you know, it was just amazing because I was really suffering for a long time with this pain. And when I finally got to the end of that pathway of 12 or so modalities, and the pain was unlocked, it was just, oh, it's just so marvelous. I mean,
Wow.
with people who are out there in chronic pain, how it is. That's why
Mhm.
I offer my chronic pain relief services as sort of my first line of offering, because those are the people that really want the answers. I mean, they're willing to go above and beyond. They're willing to engage, and for most of them anyway. And I found that people are very receptive to all of the modalities that I use that I've proven in clinical trials. So, in any case, then after I got out of pain, by the way, interrupt me anytime if you want to comment or ask any questions, okay? Because I'm just going to keep on going. Um,
All right, all right. You're great. You're doing good. And I definitely want you to comment more about the clinical trials because that is one of the most unique things I've ever heard about a holistic modality.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's really great. Well, see, okay, so basically, when I got out of pain, there's a hilarious story about the last modality that I got. I'm not going to tell it because, we don't have like 4 hours, because I could tell you so many stories. But I finally did get out of pain. And then I started I realized, whoa, you know, I'm pain free. I'm able to go back to sports. I'm able to go back to living life, instead of limping around and not being able to step off a curb, and
Mhm.
so I started getting training in all these different modalities. I got trained in deep tissue manipulation for structural balancing, acupuncture, um, movement reeducation, future visioning, guided meditation slash hypnotherapy, all these different modalities, because I wanted to run clinical trials. And I taught myself how to do clinical trials. And I want everybody to know out there that just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean you can't do it. Because I had no idea how to do a clinical trial. And I educated myself. I gathered all the resources, all the information, because I don't know, I was more committed to finding answers and getting clinical data, which is so important in healthcare, because without clinical data, it's hard to penetrate into the healthcare system. And also people want to know, does it work? How many people have you helped, etc. So that's why I decided I wanted to get training. I taught myself how to do clinical trials. The hardest part about doing clinical trials as a PhD was getting MDs to refer patients to my trials that I set up. That was the hardest part,
Mhm.
because I started out in clinical trials doing testing deep tissue manipulation for structural balancing,
Mhm.
to work with the soft tissues of the body to eliminate tilts like shoulder and hip tilts, and rotations and forward head, and all these, and collapsed arches and knee locking and all the crazy things that people are doing without realizing it, these automatic patterns that people have. So we did
Mhm.
a clinical trial in migraine headache, and I went to the CEO and the CFO and the CMO. That's chief chief operating officer, chief financial officer, and chief medical officer of Henry Ford Health System. And I went to them and said, "Hey, look, and this is in the late '90s. People are starting, institutions all over the country are starting to get into this alternative evaluation with clinical studies." And I am now highly trained in a lot of these alternative modalities. And I want to test some of these things, and I need some money. So, will you guys donate X dollars to me from wherever you get it from to support me in running these clinical trials? And they said,
Wow.
all of them said, sure. Yeah, we need to be. I said, look, we'll get in the game. I can get us in the game. It may work, it may not work. I suspect it's going to work because of my expertise. I'm not going to guarantee it. Yet we'll be in the game. We'll be playing with the big players who are out there trying to do the same thing. They
Wow.
all said yes, got me the money, committed in an account. I went to the physicians who I wanted to have refer chronic headache, migraine headache, and cervicogenic headaches, and just really challenging headache people to the clinical trial where we were testing structure, evaluating using deep tissue structural balancing techniques to restore proper posture as a way of eliminating these headaches. And I had a contact, Paul St. John, who's brilliant. He's down in Florida here with us. He's in the Clearwater area, I believe. And I haven't talked to him in a while, but I flew him up from Florida to because he's a master and he has neurosomatic education and neurosomatic therapy, which used to be called St. John Neuromuscular Therapy for people who know that. And I flew him up every weekend. He was just a Trojan. He came up and every weekend came and delivered, the therapy to the patient. So I had the world's best expert, in my opinion, doing this. And but anyway, I want to tell you that I went to the physicians, and none of them would refer patients to the trial. And I said to them, I said, have you guys look, I've got the money now. I went to the CEO, CFO, CMO, and they gave me the money to do the study. So one of the clinicians who I respect a lot, he's a great guy, said to me, he says, do you really think that you're going to get that money? And I said to him, I said, well, have you ever gone to the CFO, CMO, and CFO, CEO and asked them for money and they said they would give it to you and they put it in an account? Have you ever done that? No. I said, okay, well, I did that. And the money's in the account. So, but in the meantime, I had to set up a special meeting with the chair of the neurology department, me and these physicians. And the chair sat there and said, okay, you guys, look, he's got the money, he's got the protocols, he's done everything he needs to do. Are you guys going to refer patients to? And they all said yes. And so that's how we got the first trial going. It was really something. That trial taught me a lot. We were doing a single therapy, one mode, unimodal, one mode of therapy, the deep tissue for structural balancing, not combined with anything else. And when I saw the patients coming in with severe headache, it was unbelievable. It blew my mind. It's like these people are all different, all ages, all sizes and shapes, gender, retired, young. I mean, it was crazy. They're all, how can one modality work on these people? But we actually got really good data. We showed that the deep tissue manipulation for structural balancing in a randomized controlled trial where we had groups of patients and we randomized them to either receiving deep tissue manipulation for structural balancing, also known by many people as deep tissue neuromuscular therapy, versus a light touch relaxation massage, which, by the way, did nothing.
Right.
And these people, these were the worst of the worst. They were spending 6 to 8 hours a day in migraine every day. They were the worst.
Wow.
They came up through the ranks. Primary care, blah blah blah, up to the headache specialist, right? And so, but the deep tissue manipulation for structural balancing reduced headaches by time into headache by 50%. So from
Mm.
6 to 8 hours to 3 to 4 hours. So, but to me, I'm thinking, well, this is ridiculous. I mean, we're not getting people totally out of headache. We're helping them, but I go for, and I always have, and I always will go for symptom elimination.
Mhm.
If you got pain, you got to eliminate it. If you have sleep disturbance, you have to sleep really well. If you have headaches, you got to go to for no headaches. If you have depression, you got to go. You got to get zero depression. It's like you got to feel great in life, and on and on and on. If you have an addiction, no addiction. If you have PTSD, no PTSD. So when I saw those results, wow, and I realized as I saw the people coming in, I don't see how this is possible. They all communicate differently. They have different histories. They have different stories to tell. They have different activities. One guy was a grandfather who was a retired truck driver, and he was in massive headache pain. All he wanted to do is play with his grandkids. Then you got people who are working the work. I call them the working wounded, which is a lot of people in our society.
Yes.
We have over 100 million people in chronic pain,
Mm,
and and most of them are working. And people are having to work longer because they're getting older and they don't know if they have enough money in retirement. That's another thing I'll talk about is the stress of financial circumstances. And by the
mm,
way, so people who come to the event are going to have the ability to sign up for a free uh, two different free consultations with me. I'll say it now so people can hear that. When they
mhm.
come to our event that you're sponsoring, and I think it's so fantastic. I'm going to offer my calendar for free consultations for optimal health, which is what I'm talking about now, and then also a free consultation for a financial analysis, which includes a little bit of financial literacy and strategies for getting debt free fast and reducing interest payments to bank profits so people can keep the money in their pockets and they can start investing more and sooner. And I want the message to come through to those people that if they're not investing in their health or if they have some health challenge, they can build their wealth, get debt free fast, build their wealth so they can start investing in their health and figure out a way to invest in their health while they're getting wealthy. So
Yeah, gotta reduce stress, right? And that
yeah,
debt elimination is a good way to get going at it.
that's how I got into it. I never realized I work on de-stressing every person I work with. I don't care what their condition is because those automatic stress reactions that come on automatically that people have that they don't even realize they have automatically coming on interferes with the rate at which they can get better. So it slows them down and it slows me down. So I've always dealt with stress, but I never realized the magnitude of financial stress and how important that is to deal with. So now I can deal with all stress from all different angles.
And that
And
is so powerful. It is so powerful. And, the folks who are coming to our event, a lot of them are in some form or fashion of career transition. Some are starting up
yeah,
businesses. And that stress between pain and stress, those
yeah,
have got to be the two main things that just hinder people in moving forward to create
exactly.
a better financial situation, right?
Exactly. All the programs I ran in Henry Ford Health System, the first ones I ran were stress and pain free living. Well, the first I started doing group programs at Henry Ford because I realized the one-on-one care wasn't doing it, and I tested low back pain comparing conventional physical therapy, which was marginally effective for the group that got assigned to that, and then the other group had a multimodal alternative approach with five different modalities. They got 34 visits, 38 contact hours with 10 acupuncture visits, 10 chiropractic visits, 10 deep tissue manipulation visits for structural balancing, five Feldenkrais movement reeducation visits, which is really important. Movement education, I use that with everybody. It's so important. And I'll explain that later if we can include it in the rambling I'm doing. And then the last one was three guided meditation slash hypnotherapy sessions. So each person that came into that group got that protocol, and that was the protocol that I designed with all licensed um, um, and certified practitioners. Some of the best practitioners I could find. I had a PhD in Feldenkrais movement education. I had a licensed chiropractor, licensed massage, certified massage therapist, licensed acupuncturist, you name it. I mean, certified hypnotherapist. Anyway, the results of that trial shocked me because you know, I was looking for chronic pain elimination. So when I analyzed, we broke the code. It was people were randomized to physical therapy, conventional physical therapy, or this massive protocol. And I thought, oh, this massive protocol, this is going to do it. We're going to get between 50 and 70% elimination of chronic pain, chronic back pain. And when we broke the code and we looked at it, physical therapy produced eliminated chronic pain, physical therapy, chronic pain elimination in 5% of the people.
Mm,
That means 95% needed more work. Back to another
yes.
round of physical therapy, getting injections, getting shots, getting whatever, whatever they were, acupuncture, chiropractic, whatever they're going to try, physical therapy. Um, and then in the So I was so excited to look at the other group with this massive protocol of alternative therapies. I was so disappointed. 16% elimination of chronic pain. I'm
Mm,
thinking to myself, and these are great people. So I'm thinking, okay, there's something wrong here. We have multimodal therapy, which I realized was so important to do. And that's why I designed the program that way, multimodal therapy, because I felt you needed to come, you didn't know exactly which, you didn't know exactly what kind of an automatic pattern these back pain people had. So if you use a variety of approaches, the combination can work to help figure out and how to get pain free. That didn't work. And it shocked me because when I work with people with chronic back pain, that's one of the easiest things. I mean, that's one of the easiest things to resolve and for me. And I do it over the internet with people. I have an internet-based practice, by the way. Somebody's out there, and I don't care where you live. I'm in Florida. You don't have to be in Florida. Although, if I can get my hands on you, it goes a little bit faster. But on the other hand, you don't need to be here with me to get the results that I get and the
mhm.
results that people get. So so this multimodal therapy didn't work. And I said to myself, okay, if I'm getting better than 90% effectiveness in relieving chronic back pain without drugs, just using my approaches that I've been trained in, and every time I work with somebody, it's always a multimodal approach. I use guided meditation to guided meditation, future visioning, language-based communication skills, movement re-education, all these different strategies that I use with every patient because I don't know what their exact pattern is. I when I interview people, they tell me what their patterns are. I can figure it out, but I just don't know which combination of all those things are going to combine together to get the job done, which is why I combine them. Every now and then, in fact, we have a group on there's a podcast that I do called Well Wave Now. We have a group on Facebook called the Wellness Wave Club. So we have like over 4,000 members. You're all willing to go over there. We have guides. I'm one of the guides. We have people guides who put out every week special reports on great information. I'm so impressed by the guides. We have about 8 guides, and I just put out one, which if you go there, you'll see. You don't have to join the club. You can see the Wellness Wave Club. You can see it. I just posted this morning a case because they ask us to post one case report a month about a woman who came to me with. I'm just going to tell the story real fast. It's a beautiful story. Is that okay if I tell the story, or should I get back?
It is, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask you to give us a
yeah.
little more about the financial right after that, so we don't
Okay.
go too long today.
Okay, great. I'm getting the major points out that I want to get out. So,
Good.
how much more time do we have so I can just get a sense of what you're looking at?
Definitely should wrap up within 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. Thank you. That'll help me out. So she came to see me and chronic back pain, low back pain, and she was telling me of her situation and she's tried, people come to me and they say, I've tried everything. I said, well, have you worked with me yet? They said, well, not yet. And I said, well, then you haven't tried everything. You tried a lot of things, because when people say to themselves, and this is the language-based communication stuff I teach, when you say I've tried everything, it doesn't leave a lot of room for the next approach you look at because you've tried everything. So this can't possibly work, right? And that leads to a lot of skepticism with people anyway. So I said to her, I said, okay, look, let me get a sense of what's going on here. I'm gonna have you stand up. I'm just gonna put my hand gently on your back where the pain is. She goes, oh no, you're not. No, you're not. I went, well, what do you mean? I'm not. What's the matter? She goes, I don't let anybody ever touch my back again. I have seen so many people. I've seen so many doctors, so many physical therapists, so many XYZs and chiropractors. No way you're touching my back. I said, so I thought to myself, okay, I know that tells me I need to build some trust here. So I said, I talked for a minute and I said, I'll tell you what, how about if I just gently put my index finger on your back, gently, like you can barely feel it touch your skin, and then you direct me to where the main pain point is, and then that's it. I promise you, it's not going to affect you. It's not going to hurt you. We're just going to do this. You're going to feel totally comfortable the whole time. And she said, okay. So I put my hand on her shoulder and I put my finger right, on her back. She says, a little bit to the left, a little bit down, blah, blah, blah. She directed me right to the pain point. She says, okay, you're right there. And I'm just barely touching her skin. So then I said to her, okay, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to apply a little tiny bit of more pressure on that point, and let's just see what happens. It's not going to hurt. You're not going to feel more pain than whatever you're feeling now. Is it okay if we do this? Just try it out. Is that okay? And she said, sure, let's do it. So, I mean, I took my finger, which is barely touching her skin, and I pushed in, I don't know, a half a pound of, I mean, tiny amount of pressure. I just pushed in, and I heard she just groaned. She went, oh, and she started to collapse on the floor. And I held her up. I'm holding her up, and I knew she was somewhere else. She wasn't with me here, she was
Mhm.
somewhere else. And it was obviously not in the future. I didn't think it was in the future. I figured it was in the past. Most people go to the past for some kind of trauma or something. So you could consider what I was doing trauma release, or what she was doing. And I
Mhm.
was guiding her in this trauma release. Anyway, so the bottom line was, I said to her, I said, what's going on right now? Where are you? She goes, 3 years ago, I delivered my twin girls, and it was a horrible. She's telling me all about her pregnancy, how bad it was, and how the doctors were telling her there's going to be big problems, and they didn't know if the babies were going to live, and she goes, it was so terrible, and she's practically crying, and I said to her, okay, okay, and I let her talk and tell me all she wanted to tell me. After about a couple minutes, I said, thanks for sharing all that with me. Tell me, your girls are now 3 years old, right? How are they now? Are they healthy? Are they doing well? She goes, then she started telling me about her kid. Oh yeah. She started smiling. Yeah, they're doing great. They're so fantastic. Da, 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 da. And she told me how great they were. And I could feel her body getting stronger, like she's going to stand herself up. And so I said, after she finished, I said, okay, so your kids are doing great right now, right? She goes, yeah. I said, so do you think it's time to like let go of the stress that you were experiencing in the operating room that you've been carrying with you that has led to this pain you've had for many years? Would it be okay to like let it go now and be free of it? She said, yes. And then I said, okay, just stand up and let's check your back out. No pain anywhere. Zero pain. Yeah. So you,
Wow.
as a practitioner, and all practitioners will tell you this, you never know what you're going to get.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
nope, and people need to understand, and some people are getting this these days, but some people still aren't. There are as many emotional issues that can cause pain and stress as there are any physical complications, and that was
Well,
an awesome.
they're connected. The physical complications are connected to the emotions and entrapments in the body. Who knows where? It doesn't matter. A lot of it's
Yep.
in the subconscious mind, which I deal with everybody. But anyway, so that story is written up in detail at the Wellness Wave Club on Facebook. So if you go there, it'll be fun to look at that. And if you want to
Wow.
join, and you can get some great advice. You can ask questions, and it's just a great resource. So, okay,
Um,
now I'd like to transition to talking about financial stress, which is like the biggest stressor of all. I mean, and what I realized is I came across a program called the Money Max account. And this is an amazing program. I mean, it makes anybody who has this program their own financial expert,
mm,
because the program is heavily mathematically based. It's got 4.5 million lines of code. I know that doesn't mean much to me or anybody else, but it means that, and I do know this, they spent $20 million developing the program.
wow.
But here's how the program works. You take all of your debts, mortgages, if you have them, credit cards, car loans, student loans, personal loans, anything, any debt. And I do this for people as part of the free financial analysis. I enter all their information if they want me to. I'll give them a free financial literacy component. And then if they want me to enter their numbers, I'll send them a form. They fill it out, and then they keep the form with them. And when we get on the next call, I'll ask them, to tell me what their numbers are. I'll enter them directly into the program. And the program uses what's called factorial math, which I remember vaguely from my days in statistics. But basically, factorial math is this is what it does simply. It analyzes every combination of everything, every combination of payment that could be made down to the penny, every combination of the day that the payments could be made and on which loans the payments can be made. So, and then it comes up with the plan to give you the debt free, the fastest debt free date possible based on all of those combination of payments. It tells you exactly what to pay, when, and how much. It blew my mind because I never considered the importance of dealing with financial stress. So people can pay down their debts super fast. They can save thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars if they have mortgages, especially that they would normally pay toward bank profits. They get to keep that money in their pockets for themselves in their accounts, and then they can get debt free super fast, and then they can start investing to create a wealth legacy for themselves. And it'll blow their minds when I run their numbers for them as a free part of the analysis that they can actually, at 1% growth, once they get debt free, at 1% growth in a savings account, which is like the lowest amount of interest you could ever earn. And people are earning 4% these days in savings accounts reliably. But at 1%, somebody who pays off their debts really fast and starts in putting that money that they would have paid towards interest in this account, they can have half a million, 1 million, $2 million after the amount of time that they would have taken them to pay down their mortgage.
Mm.
So I'll tell everybody more about the program when we have our meeting. And
Yes.
no, I'm gonna wrap up in like 1 or 2 minutes max here. But what so 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 anyway, what I found now that I've been doing this for over a year is that number one, that when the people see the benefits, their minds are blown whether they buy the program or not. And the program is incredibly affordable. We can cover that in the meeting. And then the most amazing thing is like their stress level is so down. I mean, so there's so much relief from stress due to finances because they have the plan. They know the plan, and they can see within a month or two the plan works. All they do is they schedule their payments. They're done. That's it. Oh, and the one and then they just the next month they get the new action plan. They schedule their payments, and the program has a built-in emergency fund for like car repairs or household repairs, so people can determine exactly what they want in that emergency fund, whether it's 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, $10,000, whatever they want. And we build that into the program. Here's what I want to tell people: there's the people who are coming to this meeting are looking for um, ways of getting additional streams of income or even changing careers, whatever they're up to. We have with this MoneyMax account a free affiliate program that somebody can join, not pay a dime, and all they have to do if they want to is help people get debt free by simply having a brief conversation with somebody and telling them that they can meet with a debt elimination expert, that would be me, to show them for free how they can get debt free as fast as possible, the fastest possible way, and save thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if they agree to take my contact, all they do is give me their name, first name, last name, email, phone number, and guess what? Nothing else has to be done. I take over. I do several hours worth of work to, if the person is interested in learning more about the program, getting the financial analysis done. And then if they buy the program, which is incredibly affordable considering the savings people get, the free affiliate gets paid how much? $500. I
Beautiful.
mean, so anybody can sign up as a free affiliate, have a conversation. I mean, if the person just had one person, if each affiliate had one person a month sign up, that's $6,000 for the year. If they have two people in a month, it's $12,000 for the year.
Yep.
Totally doable. I have affiliates who are doing it. I mean, so that's the free program. I wanted to end with that because that's really exciting for people coming to, and that's good for people who have a good amount of money because you know what? It's all about building a wealth legacy for ourselves so we can
Mhm.
give money away to programs that we want to. So we
Yes.
have we have we have the financial power to contribute, to be a philanthropist where we want to, and create a legacy for our families.
Mm. I absolutely love it. And I was just thinking, to me, when I listen to you talk and I listen to all these things that you touched on today, you are a one-man manufacturer of health, wealth, and peace for people.
No,
How is
thank you
that?
so much. Thank you, because my ultimate goal is world peace, right?
There you
And
go, and you
yeah,
can't have peace when you're in pain, you can't have peace when you're stressed out and your
yeah,
finances are all out of whack, so there we
exactly.
go.
Yeah, my
Well,
my
thank
access
you,
my access to world peace is optimal health and wealth.
and well,
So what I say is optimal health plus great wealth equals total freedom. That's my
there you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Thank you for recognizing that.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for being with us here today. And thanks to all who watch and listen to this. Make sure that you check out on February 21st. We're putting the links all over the place right now.
What
So,
is the link
February,
again? What's the link? What's the link?
people can register to come. And actually, it's a bit.ly link. So you can just type in bit.ly/ get my fresh start. And that will
Get
take
my
you
fresh
to,
start.
yep, that'll take you to our registration page. It's free, it's virtual, February 21st from 10 to 2 Eastern Time. And we are so blessed and honored to have you as our kickoff speaker, Dr.
Thank
Bob.
you. Thank you.
So
If I had a sign, it would say bit.ly/ what's the rest?
get my fresh start.
Get my fresh start. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you all in the next interview. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye bye.